Hi everyone, welcome back to NRC Q&A. I'm Angelica, and today I'm with Erin Caldwell, who is also with National Research Center, a director of research. So Erin, we have a lot of questions that come from our clients and people who are just interested in survey research. And people are wondering, what's survey fatigue and how can it be avoided?
That's a really good question. There's basically two types of survey fatigue. There's one that we might call like survey response fatigue, and that's when people see a survey or are asked for their feedback and they've just been asked so many times, they're fatigued and they don't want to respond. And so that can help lead to, lower response rates that we're seeing across all types of surveys. Right. A second type of survey fatigue is what we might call survey taking fatigue, and that's when you're in the middle of a survey and you sort of get tired of the questions. Mm-hmm. And there's a couple things that can happen when people are fatigued during the survey. The quality of their responses might sort of decay. They don't answer as well or as with much intention as they might at the beginning of the survey.
Right. So they get halfway through and they're like, oh, is this over already? And they start just clicking A for everything.
Exactly. That is exactly what might happen. Or, if there's an open-ended question, they might skip it, whereas if it was a shorter survey, they might do it. And so there's a couple ways we can try to avoid survey fatigue. The first is don't over-survey your audience. Now for the surveys we do, we tend to not over-survey. We may only survey in a community every year to 3 years. So it's not that likely that people will get our survey, very often. If we do more than one survey in an area, for example, we just last year completed some surveys for some counties in Minnesota, as well as some surveys for the libraries in Minnesota. And so we actually pulled those samples at the same time to make sure that no household was going to get both of these surveys. They would only get one or the other. We also want to make sure that we communicate the value of the survey, why it's important for people to do the survey. And so we always have our surveys signed by somebody like the mayor or the county commissioner and really try to emphasize why this is important. We really want to hear from people so we can make their communities better.
And do you find that that's effective?
Yes, that has been found in other research to be an effective way to increase your response rate and to help people decide that they're not tired of taking surveys. They want to take your survey. It also helps them go through the survey because they realize all the questions are important. And that's the other thing that we do. We want to make our questions as easy to answer as possible and make sure we're asking questions that are important to the people who are taking the survey and to the people who are going to use that information. So it's always easy to add questions to a survey because it's interesting. What we want to ask are the questions that are important and that decision makers can use.
Yeah. So that it's not just about having as many questions as you can. You don't want to throw anyone through a loop and ask it in a way that's confusing, that type of thing.
Right.
That can also contribute to that.
That's correct. So you just want to, one of the best things you can do is actually take the survey yourself and make sure and ask others to take the survey before you send it out to make sure these questions are understandable and that people can perceive the value, why it's important that we're asking that question.
And that's a really great tip. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. Come back next week and we will answer another question.